Good day, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in to the Speakers Bureau, St. Lucie County Public Schools Speakers Bureau. We are so excited today. We have a very special guest who has given up his time and his work to come here to encourage and inspire and motivate. Motivate our students, motivate our parents, motivate our community. And for those of you that have been a part of tuning in before to the Speakers Bureau, you know what it's all about. You know that we come and we share our story. That's how we go about motivating. We understand what others are going through. And so we have a variety of people in this community that comes to the program and are open about the way that they grew up and their life and the decisions they made and why they are where they are today. So today we want to introduce Mr. Jacunti Ephrom Prince, and he is the Director of Transportation, and he has come to be a blessing here with us on the Speakers Bureau. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I will say welcome, Mr. Prince.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm comfortable with that name. You have two last names.
Yes, I do.
And so I might even ask you, well, where did those last, what happened there? But
God, I'll try to explain.
welcome, and thank you so much for coming on the program. The first thing we want you to share is, what is your responsibilities here with the district?
So here at St. Lucie Public Schools, I'm Director of Transportation, and we oversee the logistics of the bus routes, the management of the staff, and we're pretty much the overseers of the public transportation that supports the public schools here. I also work with the other entities within the county. You know, I work with Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce. I also technically work as an adjunct for the Emergency Operations Center. So it's a variety of things, but the primary goal and task is the to and from school for our students.
Okay, great. How long have you been here in St. Lucie County, and where are you from? So
I've been with St. Lucie Public Schools since 2019, late 2019, so roughly going into my 5th year. And I'm originally from Ocala, Florida, born and raised. I'm a Floridian. And then most of my upbringing after high school was predominantly in Orlando, Florida. And then I transitioned down here in 2019.
Okay, Ocala. That's a lot of farm country, right?
Yes.
Tell us what it was like. Did you say you grew up in Ocala?
Yeah, so I grew up in Ocala, Florida, out in west part of the county. Which is predominantly horse land, but I grew up on a farm where we raised hog and cattle, and we planted various things as well. But essentially I grew up, I would argue, on a farm for the most part, yes.
Tell us about your family and your upbringing.
So my family is from Florida. My grandmother is from Ocala. My grandfather's technically from the Bahamas, but essentially born and raised Floridian. And I went through the Marion County Public School system there. I graduated from high school at Forest High School, and then I moved on into college and to my working career immediately after.
Where'd you attend college?
So, well, college is a bumpy road. So, like I said, you know, you gotta. I left high school and I started college at the University of Central Florida, but I immediately began working. I did not finish that degree until 2019 in actuality. I did get an AA from there, and I got an AA from Valencia Community College, but I did not actually finish my 4-year degree until 2019, yeah. So it was literally 20 years that it took me to get that 4-year degree. I'd just been a working professional from the moment I left home.
And that's what happens when you go right into work. It's not easy. College is work. It's a whole job by itself.
It is.
So if you go directly, and I'm thinking of my son, my youngest son, who graduated from Fort Pierce Central. He graduated 11th in a class of, a couple of thousand kids, right?
Yeah.
And but he decided he wanted to go to California and actually become famous. And so he went with a group of guys, and they roomed up because California is
Yes.
very expensive living. And he found out that it wasn't what he thought it was going to be, but he needed to learn that. But he started working, and so he got an AA degree. He graduated from dual enrollment, got his AA, and never had to wake him up a day for school. Absolutely loved school. But then when he graduated, it was like, I want to work. I want to work. So I don't know if he got burnt out or what,
Yeah.
But whatever it was, he went, and it took him now, he's 23 and going back.
Gotcha.
But he has a full-time job. He's living on his own, which is rent is like a mortgage in California. So he's done well, but he understands that he needs to be at another level.
Yeah, I mean, to get ahead, and specifically, in the U.S. current market, it is exceptionally hard, to progress upward. Not to say that you cannot, because if you have a true skill that you can apply, if you're like a true electrician or you're a true plumber, there are avenues to earn.
Which is education.
Yes, but education is definitely one of the, I would argue, is one pathway and that's one that I would probably advocate for myself because it's helped me. I've learned a lot of skills in the workplace, but there are tools that you pick up in school that you may miss when you immediately enter into the workforce, and vice versa.
For sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned other trades and skills, and all of that is important, but even those you have to really educate yourself.
Correct.
You have to really become skilled.
Yes, it's a different type of education, but it's a skill. Once you gain a skill, then you can technically apply yourself in whatever field you choose.
And if you go to college and you get that paper, it opens doors.
It does. It absolutely does.
All sort of doors, that even if it's not in your major. So what did you major in?
Political science, actually.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with what I actually do.
Okay.
So I worked at UPS for 18 years, and I was in management from 18 until the time that I retired from there. But they put you through very rigorous training. I would almost argue that's akin to college, the level of training that they apply to their
UPS?
to their management staff. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I got the logistics and the transportation and the management leadership skills from, and that's how I ended up here.
How did you end up here from UPS to?
Oh, so well, technically, after I retired, I went back and I finished my 4 year.
Retired?
Yeah,
Okay.
I retired at 37 after 18 years.
Wow.
And then I transitioned with the goal to go to law school. I am pursuing that currently, so we'll see how that goes. It's going.
Okay.
But ultimately, obviously, I was much too young to retire, and I'm gonna have to continue working. So until I figured out what path I was going to take for law school, I needed to work, and I got a call to reach out, or someone reached out to me for my resume, and they said, "Hey, maybe you might be a good fit." Someone reached out to me, and I came in for an interview, and luckily I was able to be brought on and be a part of the team here.
Oh, so this is the first time you actually worked in transportation, or no?
No, so at UPS, it has a host of different types of jobs there, from inside warehousing, and you gotta remember, like even with St. Lucie Public Schools, there's an HR department, there's a maintenance department, there's an engineering, there's a small engineering team.
Right, we have all
We
kinds.
pretty much cover every basis. The same technique applies to UPS. Even though I was a frontline manager, and it was primarily just managing human capital, just large groups of people. I would say I started within the warehouse side, and I would call it inside operations, and then I moved over into the package side, which is the side where you see the drivers. The public sees the guy in the brown truck.
Right.
They don't see the work being done behind it.
Exactly.
All that work that was done behind it, that's probably where I learned the bulk of my skills. Yeah.
Incredible. So, and then you came and you got the job doing what you're doing here.
Correct.
Now, I know this is kind of a question that you kind of have to feel, might feel like you have to, well, you probably would feel like you have to. But are you enjoying your work here?
I am. Luckily, I can even speak to you. Immediately upon me coming on board, I was greeted warmly. It was an inviting place. I was given an opportunity here to share my skill set with the public school system. And my skill set matches, but it definitely has different challenges here. But I would argue this has been one of the best experiences of my life.
Talk to us some more about transportation.
Okay.
And what you guys are doing as a result of you being a part of it now here, maybe what was not happening or what is going on in transportation.
So, well, remember the marketplace is exceptionally hard, and finding qualified CDL holders in today's market is a very competitive thing. You know, essentially, we're in competition with UPS, with FedEx, you know, with Walmart, with all the large warehouses that are coming into the area.
What do you mean by we're in competition with them?
So for hiring.
Oh, for hiring. Okay.
For just from a hiring, not even getting into the technicalities of the actual job.
I got it.
Just the competition of getting competent, qualified, and dutiful employees. That is a challenge in and of itself. You know, and then to turn a career, because generally speaking, there's jobs and there's careers, and depending upon how you sell that job, you have the ability to start a career if you can bring someone in who can see the worth in the job. And I would make an argument, since I've been here, we have been able to sell the job. It is not the most high profile, it is not the most thankful, but it is most definitely a needed job. It's a needed job for the community. If transportation does not function, it disrupts family time. It disrupts jobs. It disrupts the community. If school is closed for a day, all of a sudden every parent needs to stay home, or they need to figure out another means of taking care of their child. So we have to be timely. We have to be on time. We have to be consistent. That's the big part, is the consistent timeliness. And just if you call in today, then we need to cover you quickly, and we need to make sure that your student isn't standing outside or not getting picked up at all. So when you look at the need to support the job versus how we think the job, it's two different things. There's a high need but a low level of thanks. And I would like to think, since I've been on board, we have shown more thanks. And I think we've shown that here from the board down.
And even I'm thinking, which is a tremendous job that our drivers have, is they're the first ones that the student sees. I mean, that's huge.
So I mean, they set the tone
for the day.
Whole day. They set the tone for the day, and all drivers are not made equal. No, drivers experience bad nights and bad days as well. So one of the things you always try to do on any job is you want to leave what's occurring outside of work. And when you come to the job, you want to put on your game face. And specifically for bus drivers, since we are dealing in students, we're dealing in children, we want to set a tone in which they're going to have a positive experience to start their day. And I would say we've done a good job of that in maintaining that since I've been on board. And you gotta remember, our drivers care. Our aides, our drivers and aides, they care about the student experience. We have drivers that have been here for 40 plus years. If that's not a career and dedication, I don't know what is. So we have a lot of it. We have a lot of experienced employees, and we're putting on a lot of new ones. So that transfer of knowledge from a senior driver to somebody who might be just beginning their experience here as a driver. We don't want to be a hindrance to a student's education, and there's always bumps in the road. But overall, I'd say we're having a very positive experience here.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but I used to be a bus driver.
I've asked you to come back.
Many years ago.
Come on back.
No, you don't want me. You know what? You know why?
Yes.
Because I didn't last even. I guess I lasted a year.
That's a good go. I will give you A for effort.
I mean, that job was not easy.
Yes.
Because the driver has to not only deal with discipline behind, their back is toward the students, where as a teacher, you know, you're facing your students. The driver has to focus on that road,
Yes.
on safety, and on making sure children are safe behind and things are going well behind them. And as a substitute, for me, that was extremely hard because I had a different bus every day. So even the substitute drivers are really challenged.
Yeah.
And I would sit after my route, and I sit and write that, you know, those referrals, and that would take me another hour and a half because I'm not no fast writer.
Yeah.
And you know, and then make sure the school got it. And for me, that was important because I wanted to make sure the driver that came behind me, that the actual bus driver would come back to a decent bus.
Correct.
But if they were out, because every day you can get a different call, and somebody else comes in behind me or later on down the line, I wanted them kids to realize, don't play with the driver.
Yeah, the standard is the
they
same.
will,
Yes.
you know, they
The
will
rules
turn you
yesterday
in.
apply to today, yes.
And you will get in trouble, so don't play with the substitute.
Correct.
But I mean, I had spitballs thrown at me. I'm telling you.
They're still throwing spitballs to this day.
It is not my calling to drive bus. My husband also drove bus.
Did he?
For St. Lucie County Public Schools. Both of us, we drove bus up north. This is while we were young, in our 20s, you know. And he drove for several years. So he had more tolerance. Like you said, everybody, you know, everybody's different in what they go through. And if you don't have the tolerance for kids or tolerance, I'm a very strict type parent, you know, and I'm very playful with my grandkids and my kids and stuff, but they know not to cross me. So I was like, don't have that, you know, that calling. So anyhow, I realized the toughness of the job. Yeah. And then for you to be in your position to make sure that our drivers are doing the right thing by our children, you know. And like you said, it's not a very thankful job. I mean, and you know, and I wish as a school district we can even pay more. That's my desire, because people have to make a livelihood,
a sustainable living.
Yes, yes. So let me ask you this: what are you doing now? What you always wanted to do growing up, or that you have another vision for your life?
Life pulls you in a lot of directions. I would say I did not see this. No. I would say I saw myself doing a lot of different things. I never saw this. I saw a veterinarian maybe. I was admitted into college initially in a civil engineering program because I was in the engineering program in high school. But I chose a path and I stuck to it. And this led me to a great place. I did not see this for myself. And luckily, being here, I'm still pursuing other goals outside of just this, you know. And
no political science. You want to go into law, possibly.
Well, and that's we'll see where that goes. But I am still pursuing, you know, the end goal of where that degree can take me. Education, like you said earlier, it opens other pathways, and that's another pathway that I want to open for myself. I'm not saying that I'll take it because I am comfortable and I'm happy, but I always want to leave myself options, you know, because life is long and you want to give yourself an opportunity to have the ability to make other decisions if opportunities arise, or if you can create your own opportunity. And I think a lot of people don't create their own opportunities. Or they may not choose a path that may be harder. But I'm the type of person who just wants to keep things open for myself.
Yes, and be a lifelong learner.
Yes. My education never ends. It never ends.
My daughter went into law, and she's a judge now.
Okay.
You know, she's a federal judge now. So that opportunity is there, but she also worked within the community with a very high-profile group, helping before she went into, well, she went into law, then she worked for this as executive director of what's called the round table. I don't know if you've ever heard of round table in this group, but it is high-profile people within the community, professionals that have come together for the sake of children. And so she did that for several years and then applied, because she had that degree, applied when the judge was going to retire here, and applied for it. And out of all of the people, which they had a huge group apply with really high packets of application to get in, she was chosen. So that's how she ended up doing that. But just being able to just continue, one should continue their education in some way. You know, it doesn't have to be full-time, or it doesn't have to be college as we know it, but as you said earlier, gain a skill and become very, very good at that skill. If it's a mechanic, continue your education. If it's a hairdresser, continue your education. Whatever skill you have, be the best at what you do. Yes, sir. And if it's a bus driver, continue your education. Because, you know, there are positions open that if you carry certain papers, you can actually end up, like you mentioned, some that have been around a long time. You know, if you're going to drive bus and make it a career, well, you can end up in the office if you continue your education, even if you go into a different field of study.
So there are, and that's what I'm saying. I have people that I've promoted since I've been here, people that I've referred to other positions that were bus drivers. You know, there's talent everywhere. You have to have the ability to spot it, and you can see if they have that capacity to want more for themselves, or they want more roles of responsibility. And you give people opportunities, because we have a lot of degree-holding bus drivers, but they've chosen this, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because I would like many drivers. It's a public service job. But again, education is a pathway. It can open doors. You just have to want it.
And be a lifelong learner. That's what I say, because that's going to open the door all by itself, right? Tell us more about your childhood. Tell us how you grew up.
So I grew up grew up in a single mother home. I have a twin brother, 2 sisters, but overall it was a great childhood. Like I said, I grew up on a farm, and on that farm was like, we had 4 houses on it, very large property. And, you know, my auntie was to the left, my auntie was to the right, my grandma and granddad was to the front.
Okay, so they did it as a family with this property. Because when you said single mom, I'm like, how did she have
so again, we had a lot of support. We had a nice support network. And I was always surrounded by family, you know. There was always work to be done, and we always had somebody who could lean on, you know. If I needed advice, or if I just needed a meal, it was always available, you know. Never did we go without. And growing up in Marion County, in Ocala, I have no complaints. I think it's one of the best places on earth.
Did you ride horses?
Yes, I rode horses.
Because I rode horses
I rode
for
my
years
share of
myself.
horses.
I loved horses.
I have no desire to be around animals. Just growing up with them, because I know the level of work and responsibility that requires. So to the 4-H club, they can enjoy themselves, you know. You know, it is hard work.
I know you've been through challenges. We all have. How have you pushed through your challenges?
I would say that nothing is gained without effort. So I've had some challenges, and at every challenge, luckily for me, I'm blessed enough to have a support system and a network that can pick me up. And I'm not saying financially. I'm just saying just general encouragement. But I guess growing up in the church, you know, 8 days a week.
Oh wow!
You know,
that was a challenge.
Yeah,
especially as a kid.
What you learn is nothing is gained without effort, and that's one of the biggest things that I picked up. We can pray all we want, but if you're not putting in energy and effort towards what your goal is, then you're never going to receive anything. So I always held on to that. Just you got to put in the work, and what you do in the dark generally comes to light. So if I go backwards and I study, and I lock myself in the room, and I don't do the things that are enjoyable for a little while, and I put in that energy and that effort, it'll generally come to light, oh, this guy did X, Y, and Z, and this is why he is where he is. You just have to remember, generally energy isn't wasted. You know, if you put in the effort, you'll get something in return.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm a simple
You
guy.
know, we might say it's simple, but that was a light bulb
Yeah.
for some, you know,
Yes.
especially young people. You know, if you put in the effort,
Yeah.
what was that? You put in the effort, what happened?
If you put in the effort, you're going. I don't know what I said or how I said it, but if you put in effort, you're going to receive your goal in the end.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. The church family, the way I learned it was, you reap what you sow.
There you go.
You know,
That's
if you
a
sow
simpler
it,
term.
and coming up on a farm, I
Yeah.
know you understand that. Whatever you sow and you plant, it's gonna come up and
Correct.
blossom. And then if you nurture and take care of it, it will remain alive. You know, otherwise it dies,
Yeah,
it dries up.
You
and-
have to tend to it.
Yes. So, can you name a person that made a tremendous impact in your life? I want to know about 2 people. I want to know about anyone who made a tremendous impact, and also an educator. If you could remember one person that maybe whatever they did, you remember them.
Well, I can
I
think
have
of.
an educator who used to spank us with the newspaper.
I got an educator, but it was actually really later in life. It was very much later. I guess if I had to, it was 3 people that come to mind, and I'll try to pinpoint one.
Okay.
Dr. Raphael Sanchez.
Why?
I would say he is somebody that came into my life in my later years, around early 20s, and he showed me a different way. He showed me that you can attain things. Again, it goes back to the effort. I actually had the opportunity to watch him put in that effort, and it shows. You know, so between him, a gentleman by Marcus DeMore, and a lady by Nicole Mallard, they were managers that I met at UPS, and specifically Nicole Mallard. She showed me what leadership was. Even if you don't believe in the plan, if that's the directive, if that's the mission, you still have to push it forward if you're with a group. Does that make sense? We can talk about how we feel behind closed doors, but the mission is the mission, and you have to carry it out. And you have to be convincing of it, and you have to get people to understand. If you explain the who, what, whens, and whys, and you're forthright, generally people are going to follow you. Even if they don't agree with you. To me, I took a lot of leadership qualities from her, specifically.
I have so many more questions, but we're out of time.
Okay.
That 30-minute just flies by.
That's 30 minutes already.
It's only 30 minutes
Gotcha.
we need an hour.
Well, I'll come back.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
That would help because you know, I really wanted to zoom in some other areas, but the conversation went so well.
Okay.
And there's so much that we've heard and learned today, and what you have said. People need to hear it over and over again too, you know. And we have to be willing vessels to help people hear it over and over again, because if they hear it enough,
Yes.
it becomes their life. So at this time, I want to thank you so much, and thank you for saying you'll come back.
I will, absolutely. And if you
Okay.
need my help in the community or you want me to be involved, I'm here for you.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm telling you I'm here.
Don't say that, because then I'm gonna call you to it.
I know you are. That's why I'm saying it's recorded.
With some kids,
It's
too.
recorded now. Now you got me on record.
Thank you so much
Yes.
for coming, and we appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.